Then another thing is, and I think that's quite an important reflection on Colombia, when you come here and you hear from people that the Colombians are so nice, even compared to other Latin American countries, they're so nice, so polite. That's true. But welcome to How to Expat. My name is Sam and this is Tasha.
Hello.
And today we're going to talk about, or we're going to reflect about our life here in Colombia. If you have seen the last videos, we are full-time expats here in Colombia since 4 years now, but we're gonna leave Colombia in the next time, let's say. So we want to reflect about our life here in Colombia. First, we're gonna talk about what we will miss from Colombia, then what changed in the 3-4 years we have been here, and then expectation versus reality. What did we think when we came? What did we think when we came? And what was our life actually like when we lived here in Colombia? So let's start with what we will miss. So you want to take it away?
The culture. That's a big thing. I noticed when we went back to Europe for, a month, how shocked I was by the culture. So I had like a reverse culture shock. Just people here are really non-confrontational, which is also really nice. They're not too direct. They don't tell you like rude stuff in your face, which is kind of nice. I didn't think about that before. So I really love the culture here. People are really nice, really open, and I don't know, just the whole vibe. They're so warm. I think that's the biggest difference. The people here are really warm. In Switzerland and most European countries, I feel like people are more closed off and like more colder towards you. So that's something I really gonna miss about the people here. Like the culture is a big thing, and just the country in general is beautiful.
We're also gonna miss the people, the friends we made here. We have now people, a community that we will call family. So that's one of the biggest thing we're gonna miss, of course. That's cannot be said more or less about that. Then the cost of living. It's just great here. First of all, we almost did not have to pay tax in Colombia, even though we registered everything. So that's one big thing. So what you're bringing in, you can pretty much keep, or at least in our situation, how we had it. And then just you can get lunch for $2.50. Also, kind of the products you get here, that the good products are actually the inexpensive ones, and the expensive one is the things we personally didn't want anyway. We don't have a TV, we don't have crazy sound systems. These are things that are extremely expensive in Colombia, but we didn't really care about that. So what we cared about was very inexpensive, and that was great.
Rent, for example, is really inexpensive. So that's really something like, are we gonna be able to rent an apartment as we rent now for $450? I don't know, but we really enjoyed the time that we were able to.
So before we go with what changed in the 3 years that we have been here, I just want to quickly mention that we have a video course about being an expat in Medellin, or especially if you're thinking about being an expat in Medellin. We will talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Especially the ugly is very interesting, because these are videos we recorded that we can't really publish on YouTube. There's just things you cannot say on YouTube. You already know that. And we have that in there. So if you are considering being an expat in Colombia, I think the video course is extremely invaluable. We have a lot of condensed great information there of topics: cost of living, some budget tips, taxes, real estate investment, all of those things. So the link to that is in the description down below. We also have a promo at the moment going, so it's less expensive than normal. So let's continue with the things that changed in the 3-4 years we have been here. So the first thing, one thing that I liked when we came here, one thing that I fell in love with, was the entrepreneur vibe. So you came here to the city, you felt that up and coming vibe. Different people have different ideas, new businesses are opening up all the time, new ideas are being brought to the table, and this faded in the 3 years we have been here. Why did it fade? I cannot really say if it's just me getting to know better the culture, me getting to understand the culture. Maybe that's kind of a first thing, that you come here and you think it is like that, and then you realize it's not. Or maybe things really changed
because of COVID. Like there are a lot of reasons.
One aspect surely is the protests that have been going on in the last 3 years. I know in Latin American countries there are always protests at all times, but in the last 3 years it really accumulated these protests, and people don't feel as just
free-spirited, I
yeah,
guess?
like upbeat anymore. I think maybe again it's just a personal feeling, or maybe it is really like that, but that's really a thing that inside me changed that view of Medellin. Then the next thing is car. We thought we came here and our idea was maybe to get a car, but maybe not. But that's really a thing that changed. We now want to have a car. That's the thing that changed inside of us. I was a mechanic. It was my first job. I traveled a lot in my other jobs with a car. We love to go out and about and discover new places
Different trips,
independently.
yeah.
This was surely a big thing.
Also, just traveling in general, I would add to that, because when you're here in Colombia, just going to Ecuador, you would think that, well, it's just a neighboring country, it's going to be fast and inexpensive. Well, fast maybe, however, it's really expensive. It's actually more expensive than taking a trip to Switzerland, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. But however, traveling in general, just in Europe, is like really easy doing that by car, so that's a really big pro.
So then safety, you want to take it away here?
Yeah, safety, we talked about it a lot. We recorded a lot of videos, how safe is it here, and we came to the conclusion it is safe. It is safe in regards of you don't have to fear for your life when you're here, but maybe for your stuff, because pickpocketing is a thing here, which is a thing in most bigger cities, I would say. So we never felt like threatened to our lives. However, we avoided a lot of things because of the safety issues. So for example, when we're out at night, we're really cautious which taxi we take, if we ever, like, even going to take a cab. Also where we walk, we never walked into empty alleys and sidewalks and whatever, just because we were really just cautious about our surroundings and tried not to give papaya, which is like this saying of like not showing off stuff, like not being a target pretty much. So me as a woman, I would say I didn't notice that until we went back to Europe. I felt so much less, not fear, but I was less cautious about my surrounding there, because I knew when I'm in a forest, for example, I don't have to fear that someone's gonna jump out the woods. Like, it happens sometimes that you're by yourself just walking, hiking or whatever, and that there are people waiting for you to rob you. They're not gonna kill you. That's not what I'm afraid of. I'm just afraid that I'm gonna be gun pointed and all my stuff taken from me, for example, which is not something I'm afraid in Switzerland or most European countries. And so that kind of blew my mind that it was getting normal for me to be cautious, and just like, again, going to the forest with him, I was like always looking into like empty like spots and noticed that behavior, and that's, I never had that before we came to Colombia. Yeah.
So what changed there? The safety aspect didn't change. Like Colombia is getting safer and safer year by year, but what changed is really our perspective of how our life's gonna be. And I just want to add here, that's not a thing between like Colombia is more dangerous than another Latin American country or a US country. Is the same thing. If for us, New York feels as unsafe as Colombia. I just wanted to add that here. I think that's very important. But we changed. We don't want to live in an environment like that anymore. So we wouldn't even want to live in New York because of the safety aspect. I think that's very important to point out. It's just, we changed. We want to have a safer thing, that if we're gonna wander out, we don't have to worry about getting robbed at gunpoint or stuff like that. Again, Colombia for us feels as safe as any, or Medellin feels as safe as any other big city in the Americas, excluding Canada, which is a whole another thing. But I just wanted to mention that. So what was the expectation when we came to Colombia? What was actually the reality once we lived here? So one thing is, we came here, we thought we're gonna have the Latin American lifestyle, a little house with a garden. We will have, I don't know, way more nature around us and anything. And then 3 years later, we found out that we live in a city right now, quite congested city in a valley where it's full of people and houses and cars. So that's really a thing that the expectation, what we actually thought our life's going to be, was quite different than the reality. So we found ourselves in the city.
Absolutely.
Then another thing is, and I think that's quite an important reflection on Colombia, when you come here and you hear from people that the Colombians are so nice, even compared to other Latin American countries, they're so nice, so polite. That's true. But we talked about that specific topic we're talking about right now, with different expats that lived here for a longer period of time, not like the 3-month expat and then they're gonna be gone for another country, but the real long-term expat, and also other Colombians coming from different cities to Medellin, is that people here are very closed off. They're very open in the first couple of conversations, but as soon as you get into
more intimate, I guess, or more closer, like now that it would lead to a friendship, you feel like they already have like their closed circle, which is their family and their close friends that they already have, and it's quite hard to be part of that inner circle. So it's really like, to approach someone is really easy and they talk to you and they're really open and blah blah blah, but to actually get closer on a deep level, that's quite hard, to be honest.
No. It's
more superficial.
Extremely true. And we heard the same thing from a Colombian friend of ours that moved from the coast to Medellin. And she said the same thing. And we were like, wait, but people here are so open, so friendly. I don't really get what she's saying.
Yeah.
And now, a couple of years later, we exactly know what she's saying. So we are fortunate enough to be in a circle like that. We have been introduced to a family, and we are
pretty much part of it.
Of the family But it took a couple of years. We thought when we come to Colombia, like the expectations you had, that you come here, like people will open you with open arms, will welcome you with open arms and include you into their family. Here in Medellin, that's not too big of a thing.
No.
Then about the culture. The thing here, when you come to the culture, is very nice. It's so lively. People are so happy all the time and friendly. And then when you live here for quite a while, you figure out that things, especially behind closed doors, they can get dark. So especially with the thing, I thought about that a lot, like, why are Latins so happy? And I don't think it's that Latins, they're so happy. I think they experience more happiness, yes. But once you live here, you live actually here, and you hear your neighbors, you hear what's going on in other neighborhoods, in other apartments. You know that also they have very low lows. It's not just they're very happy all the time. That's just what you see, especially if you come here as a tourist. They're always happy, and because they're outside and they don't show that they have issues back home. And we know families here, we know people here, we have heard our neighbors, we know what's going on behind closed doors. And there's some very sad and unfortunately also some very ugly things going on behind closed doors here in Colombia, which is just the reality. That was not the expectation. The expectation you have, you come here, everything is so open, so friendly, everybody's so happy. It's not always that. I don't know if you want to add something.
I would just say it's two-faced in a way, you know. Like outdoors, they're different people than when they're inside, I would say. So here's something I mentioned that a long time ago, that publicly showing anger is not a thing here, or just emotions in general, unless it's like happiness. So they keep that to themselves until they're home. And so when they're angry or something's happening in the family, it's always behind the doors. You will never see, usually in general, saying someone being really angry outside. Like family or something, like they always keep it to themselves, and then when they're home they're gonna close the door and then it's gonna start. And I'm not saying everyone is violent or anything like that, but I'm just saying it's kind of two-faced. And just because you're seeing that person always happy, that doesn't mean they're always happy, you know. I think that's everywhere in the world, but I guess just a lot of people expect Colombians or Latinos to be different when it comes to that, because they are ranked really high when it comes to happiness. So I think that's a really important thing to consider, or just think about it. It didn't change our lives here. Like we're not leaving Colombia because of that.
It's just a reflection, like the title of this
video. Exactly.
All right, that was already it for this video. In the next video, we're gonna talk about what exactly is going to happen with how to expat itself. Are we continuing with videos in Italy? Are we continuing with videos traveling around? Are we continuing with Colombian videos, or are we not continuing at all? So you're gonna find that out in the next video. See you soon.